Okay, what I did was I brought as you can see, I've kind of brought this brim. What I did, I came from the inside of this also to bring this brim to kind of where it kind of flips up in the front just a little bit, like this. In other words, see where it kind of flips up in the front, and then you take your knife and you sort of dig into here as you do this. To sort of make that work like that, see? Where it kind of comes up on the face like this. See how it kind of flips up just a little bit? Remember, this is an old fishing hat. And then I sort of took some, like around in here, I just sort of thinned this off in here where the face was, in such a way where the hat fits on it. And then in the back, I'm rounding that off in a downward. Whoop. Oh well. There was a weak spot there. That's no problem though, because I was going to cut that off anyway. I was going to remove more wood around this area in here. In other words, that's why you have to be kind of careful trying to demonstrate this. And just take that off right in there. That's no problem, see? That'll be fine. That's why when you get into this area, you want to be kind of careful. You want to use a light touch on your wood carvings whenever you do that. There you go. Sort of like that. Now, before we continue with the hat, we want to work on the face a little bit more. We want to thin it down. Because the face still is way too big, as is the figure. There's a lot of removing of wood when you get into a larger project. Now you might want to start with a much smaller person project with something like this, in other words. And alright. Now, because you see this brim around here, you start taking wood away from here. And it begins to look more what you want. Remember, this is an old fishing hat, so it's not going to be and then it kind of round this brim top part a little bit. Here we'll do a little something extra to it, in other words. But it's just sort of like that, in other words. Now this, if you look to the side of the face here, this is too thick in here, so some wood is going to have to be removed from this area in here a little bit. See, to make the hat look thinner. And up here a little bit. But you just take your time, don't get in a hurry. Remove the wood and thin the brim out even more. There we go. But as we begin to continue to carve, we'll okay, let's move this face a little bit closer together, like right in here, okay, where he looks like. Well, I just dropped my pencil. Whoops. Okay, now let's work a little bit more. Let's go from there, because as you work on the figure, you want the figure to look proportionate in a way. So the body naturally right now is too big for the head. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit off of the arms here, and we're going to kind of establish our now let's do this. Let's establish where our hands are in this fella. So we're going to come up here. I'm just going to draw across here where his hands would be, okay? and I'm going to come across here with my knife. And come from the inside of the hand. Okay? The inside of the hand. Alright, now I've established my hand. Now it's not going to be, I'm going to come down with it a little bit, in other words, it's still a little bit too big. But I've established where my hand is on this arm. So now I can kind of work bringing this down a little bit, thinning this out just a little bit, because the arm really is too big for the figure right now. There we go. See, I'm just bringing it down, and especially in this area in here, at the sleeve. I'm going to bring this area down in here, where it's a little bit closer to the body, yet okay, you see that? See that right there? Because we're going to remove a little bit more off this area in here, like that. Now you see how it's starting to take shape. Take a little bit in here. Okay. Now the same thing with this arm. I'm going to work on this one for a little bit. I've got to bring that arm down. It's too far out, and it's way too big. So I'm going to come about and bring it away from the face in here. Now, let me show you. I'm going to have to bring down, first of all, let me